Welcome back. Earlier we did the seller financials for the decoupling report. Right now what we can do is analyze the buyer affordability. How do we do that? I'll explain a little bit how this portion is analyzed. In our example, we use a property of 2.3 million valuation, of which the outstanding loan is 250,000. And what would that mean is that your existing loan of John's share, because John owns 45% share, he would be assessed for $112,500 for an outstanding current loan, his share of the loan. Because Mary exited, so Mary would not be liable for that. But in case of John who wants to take over Mary's share and Mary, you pay Mary in full cash, then John would need to fork out in full cash. And at the same time, John would need to go to another bank and finance $112,500, and he needs to be able to have the affordability to pass that. Right? If John doesn't make a single cent of income, then the affordability assessment would typically fail. Right? So this is to finance John's share of the outstanding loan. So we know that John has 45% share, and his share of the valuation is 1.035 million. And Mary has 55% of the 2.53 million valuation, and her share is 1.265 million. And we zoom into Mary's portion. So if John were to buy out Mary's portion, he would need to borrow, if in case he's needing a loan, he would need to borrow 75% of the purchase portion, which is 1.265, and the down payment portion would be 25%, assuming that John only owns one property and this is the only one. And then of the 25%, 5% would be in cash, 20% can be in CPF OA, or all the 25% can be in cash. And in the case of the loan, 75% of the loan of 1.265 million is equal to 948,750,000, right? So John would need to be assessed for $948,750 whether he passed or failed the TDSR. In which case he could fail. Maybe he cannot borrow 948. He can borrow 820,000 or 800,000 or 700 or 600,000. That is a case of how much he can afford. So decoupling is not for everybody. So there are cases whereby when they decouple, they don't have the affordability and they can fail, in which case decoupling would not be possible. So the buyout loan amounts up to 75% will be based on John's affordability. So after completion of the buyout, John would own, or at least he's the mortgager of the full property, owning 100% of the $2.3 million valuation of the property. And then let's have a look at the analysis of the buyout power quick analysis for current property. So what does it mean by buyout? Because John is the buyer, right? In this case, so John owns 45% of the current remaining loan amount of 250, right? Earlier in the PowerPoint, we say that John's share of the outstanding loan of 250K is 112,500. And in this case, the remaining tenure is 19 years, and the TDSR interest rate is 3.5%, and the monthly installment is $676, right? So he is being assessed for this amount, right? 112,500, and he would pass, right, based on his current income that we input. So the buyout portion, what's the buyout portion? The buyout portion is this portion here, right? This is the buyout portion, the 55%. So the buyout portion, 55% of the property valuation of 2.3 million with 75% loan to value is $948,750, right? Based on John's age, we reckon he can do 20 years, right? So it's typically 65 years old, age cap minus the current age that he is, right? And then this amount of monthly installment will work out to be 5,502, right? So based on that, we worked out what is potentially he can afford for that amount, right? Which is, in this case, we look at this amount here of the property price, purchase price of 1.265, right? Let's have a quick look back here. 1.265 million, and he is trying to borrow 948.8, and he would pass, right? So in this case, we look at his TDSR. He's 58.71, right? So he would pass, right? A TDSR of up to 60% is allowed. So in which case, we look at him getting the existing loan plus getting the 75% of the loan, he would still pass. So we say, congrats, it looks like John is able to buy out this property with a down payment of 25% and a loan tenure of 20 years, right? This is only the TDSR portion for the existing loan, which is this part, existing loan 112, and the 75% of the 1.265, which is, in this case, we're assessed for 948, right? So these two portions are being assessed, right? In the next portion, then we will look at the cash and the CPF OA portion. So now what we do is we save as, buyout financials.